This documentary will examine the theories of evolution throughout history. But first, we need to understand evolution. According to Dictionary.com 2016, evolution is the process of which different kinds of living organisms have developed to better survive. Evolution occurs through a series of genetic mutations and changes a species over thousands of millions of years. It is essential for the continuation of a species as it allows them to adapt to new environments and challenges. But how do we know about evolution? The story starts with Lamarck and his theory of inheritance and acquired characteristics. Basically, Lamarck stated that if an organism changes during its life to adapt to its environment, those changes are passed on to its offspring. He said that changes are made by what the organisms want or need. For example, if a giraffe needed to eat leaves in higher trees, they would stretch their neck to be taller, and these traits would be passed on to their offspring. The story continues with Charles Darwin in 1835 when he travelled to the Galapagos Islands. Upon arrival, he was amazed by the abundance of species on the islands and how they differed from mainland species and between the islands themselves. One of the species that amazed him the most was finches. He noticed them for their remarkable diversity in beak form and function. He recorded around 15 species of similar-looking finches with different beak shapes according to how they got their food. He noticed the birds feeding on seeds off the ground had shorter, wider beaks that were used to crush the seeds, and the birds feeding on worms and insects had longer, sharper beaks. He also noted that all of the birds had only subtle physical differences, and they were all similar to true finches found on the mainland. What Darwin had unearthed was the concept of evolution, which was later coined as Darwinism. This theory states that all species of organism arrives and develop through the natural selection of small inherited variations that increase the individual's ability to compete, survive, and reproduce. This process happens slowly over millions of years. Let's use the finches to show this. Hundreds of thousands of years ago, a population of true finches were blown onto the Galapagos Islands. The finches' population exploded as there were no predators on the island, and they quickly started running out of food. They formed niches of where they sourced this, so that all of the finches that fed on the same thing essentially hung out. For example, one population fed mainly on worms and insects, and another fed on seeds on the ground. As these two populations separated, they began to develop characteristics suited to their environment. Eventually, the gene flow stopped between the two populations, and they became too different to reproduce together. This created two different species of finches, or speciation. Darwin's theory highlighted the importance of natural selection in evolution. According to Dictionary.com 2015, survival of the fittest refers to the continued existence of organisms which are the best adapted to their environment with the extinction of others. This basically means that better adapted individuals will survive and reproduce, passing on their traits to their offspring. What Darwin didn't understand, however, was the role that genetics caused in evolution. We now know that physical traits are passed down from parent to offspring through genetics. In conclusion, evolution is the process of descent with physical modification. It's responsible for the diversity of species found on Earth and the adaptations that allow the continued survival of the species. We know this because of Charles Darwin's theory of evolution and through his observation of the Galapagos finches.